40 here. Main slate, James, we are taking a first look at Tuesday's big game right here, back to a 7:05 start time over on DraftKings. Howard Bender will be the man on the playbook for today, so make sure you check all of that out. And James and I, of course, will be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern, giving you all the updates, lineup changes, and all the news you need to know about before you set those DFS lineups. James, man, how are we feeling coming out of Monday's slate?
Tuesday slate fixing to be an interesting one. We have cores, we have Great American, we have some elite pitching. We don't have a lot of value. We haven't. It's just going to be an interesting slate, and I'm excited to turn the page on Monday's slate. That proved once again Julio Teheran is an elite pitcher in this game,
and Alek Manoah is not.
Oh, that is. He might be.
Honest question. Does Alek Manoah get optioned?
He may be sent down, yeah.
Right? Like, he certainly probably has some options to be moved, I would assume.
I'll tell you right now. I'll go to our good friends over at Fangraphs and Roster Resource. They have everything we need. Let's see how many options Alek Manoah has, because while we do that, maybe, let's see, as Fangraphs is taking
slowly loading.
So Alek Manoah has 3 options. There is a strong possibility.
He got one out.
He gave up the grand slam. And then immediately back-to-back singles, and they were like, "All right, enough is enough."
Because what was it? I'm checking this right now to see if my memory is refreshed correctly or not. But didn't Cliff Lee get sent down to the minors the year before he came back and won the Cy?
Maybe. That sounds correct.
I'm trying to see. 2007, he appeared in 20 games. 2008, he won the Cy Young Award. So did he get sent down to the minors in 2007? Major leagues? Yeah, he made 8 appearances at AAA in 2007. So they sent Cliff Lee down. And then next year he bounced right back. So maybe we see that out of Alek Manoah. Maybe Alek Manoah gets sent down to AAA, works some things out. Or maybe that he gets an IL stint to work some things out. Right. But yeah, so that was a little recap of what happened on the Monday slate, because we were all in on Astros, and they came through that entire outfield, eligible plays. Any 4 of the outfielders on their roster all hit home runs. If you played Jordan, Tucker, Jokes, or Myers, they all homered. Jokes hit a grand slam. So we were all in on that. Aaron Nola and Andrew Abbott, our most expensive pitcher and our cheapest pitcher, the top 2 scoring pitchers on the slate here. So a lot of good things coming from Monday's 7-gamer, hopefully carrying on over to what we got going on here for 12 games. James, why don't we pop over to Vegas, take a look at some of the game totals and spreads.
Yeah, Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates, to no one's surprise, is the biggest favorite on the board, minus 225. Currently the only team fixing to be over minus 200 currently. Tony Gonsolin and the Los Angeles Dodgers are close behind, even though they're in Great American, minus 190 on the road for them. 165 are the Braves hosting the New York Mets and Carlos Carrasco. Minus 150 for Dane Dunning and the Texas Rangers against the Cardinals. Minus 170 for Clark Schmidt of the Yankees at home against the White Sox. And that's really it. That's all we have currently for Moneyline. Let's go over to over-under. So I don't currently have anything for cores. That's obviously the first thing we look at when we have a core slate. They don't have a line yet. It's probably just doesn't fit on the page. There's so many numbers because Dinelson Lamet is pitching for the Rockies.
Maybe they're waiting on an official pitching announcement, possibly.
I find this interesting, though. The Braves and the Mets have opened at 10 runs. Bryce Elder versus Cookie Carrasco. Bryce Elder's been pretty good this year. 9.5 implied runs in St. Louis and Texas. That game was projected to have a lot of runs on Monday. Did not happen. Arizona, Washington, 9.5. So those, and LA Dodgers and Reds have 10. So some good game environments to pick from. And obviously when we see the Colorado game, there's going to be a lot of implied runs in that one as well.
Yeah, 100%. Let's dive into pitching here. When it comes to my favorite top pitchers on this slate, Keller is going to be a very chalky, obvious option.
Yep.
Going up against Oakland. We just tend to like to target Oakland pitching, but wheels starting to come off a little bit for Mitch Keller. 10 earned runs, 17 hits over the last 12 against Seattle and San Francisco here. Strikeout numbers are still nice, 8 strikeouts in both those games, but we expect the ownership to be here, but are you worried at all given recent form, Mitch Keller, when it comes to top price starters?
No. Not really. I mean, Seattle's offense is really good, or San Francisco's offense rather is really good. Especially against right-handed pitching, we've said that all year long. Seattle's offense was in the midst of a very good stretch during that time. That was about the time when Julio Rodriguez started taking off. The strikeouts have been amazing, so I'm willing to overlook the kind of just bad luck type situations that he's
Sure.
run into, because he's still missing a lot of bats, and Oakland isn't exactly a team that has much thump at all, if any. So yeah, I mean, still they have like the second highest strikeout rate, or the highest strikeout rate after Monday's game against right-handed pitching. So no, I think Mitch Keller is my top arm despite the recent struggles. I'm trying to pull up. So just for context, John, game against San Francisco, Mitch Keller, 556 BABIP against.
Sure.
His ERA was 6. His FIP was 1.12. His xFIP was 2.44. The start before, 333 BABIP against Seattle. ERA was 9, 370 xFIP. So like just running into a little bit of unlucky situations. And
Sure.
On the year, Mitch Keller 299 xFIP, right in line with his 3.25 ERA. So I'm willing to go right back to the well and say he's going to get back on track to the Cy Young candidate that he emerged
Sure.
over the last first 10 starts or so.
Hunter Brown, Kevin Gossman, 2 top-tier pitchers going up against one another. We saw Toronto again held down tonight by Belak. Do we think anything for Hunter Brown in this matchup? Do you like maybe Gossman on the other side, given how well he's pitched? What are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I mean, you can get to either. I think Gossman obviously has an insane ceiling right now. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. He already has 100 strikeouts in his first 75 innings. He has a bunch of double-digit strikeout games, 5 already this year. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be okay getting to Gossman, and I'd be okay getting to Hunter Brown. But I just kind of want to live in this next tier where the GOAT, James Paxton, resides. And I've been trying to tell you, that James Paxton just has looked good since coming back. The only problem has been like health with James Paxton. Now he gets an upgrade in ballpark, pitching away from Fenway, and he gets obviously an upgrade in matchup because Cleveland is not good offensively. And yes, they've been better, but in large part it's been due to like their lefties. Josh Naylor. I know Ramirez is better from the left side of the plate or right side of the plate, so like we have to worry about that. But Andres Jimenez hits from the left side. Will Brennan has hit a couple home runs recently. He hits from the left side. So I'm getting to Paxton. I know Cleveland isn't exactly a team that has struck out all that much, but we've seen 5+ strikeouts in all 4 starts for Paxton. Twice he's gone for 8. I think Clark Schmidt is a very interesting name to consider here against the White Sox. Clark Schmidt is going to face another team that does not have a lot of lefties. And the White Sox have Yohan Moncada, who's hitting 100 over his last 10 games. Gavin Sheets is all or nothing, most of the time nothing. And Yasmani Grandal, who has had a decent year, but like all of the White Sox thump is from the right side. So I'm okay getting to Clark Schmidt. We've seen the strikeouts.
Over the last 2 weeks, again, sample size here, 26% strikeout rate for the White Sox, just a 200 batting average, a 102 ISO, a 246 WOBA against right-handed pitching. That's second worst in the league, only behind the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I mean, Clark Schmidt's been pretty good. Recently, it's been recent, realization other than the Tampa start, and then Joe Musgrove, who, let's just face it, he's just too cheap. I know there wasn't a lot of strikeouts the last time out. He had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning in that game. He looks all the way back after his last 2 starts, and there's sooner than later he's going to be 9K.
Yep. I'm with you there. I think another value play that maybe is going to go overlooked because of the perceived matchup here, but Freddie Peralta, if you look at Baltimore of late, that lineup against right-handed pitching, again, just kind of looking at the last 2-week sample size, they lost Cedric Mullins in that lineup, obviously. Just a 291 WOBA against right-handed pitching during that stretch, 235 batting average, a 140 ISO. So that offense has really dipped against right-handed pitching. We know we generally like them against lefties anyways, guys like Mountcastle and Rutschman and Santander and Hayes and that whole crew. But, they're not really hitting righties. And then you look at the home road splits, take that for what it's worth. At home this year, Freddie Peralta, a 3.38 ERA, on the road, a 6.04. So you're getting Peralta at home in an environment he seems more comfortable pitching in against an offense in Baltimore that over the last 2 weeks is really struggling to hit right-handed pitching. So I think Freddie Peralta may be a little bit of a sneaky spot here against Baltimore.
Yeah. Now, I'm looking at some stats and the things, he's kind of struggled lately, and they all look like it's just kind of been what he's been. But it's been like home runs, and he didn't profile as a home run allower before these last few starts. So I'd like to see him get back to not giving up home runs, right? Like a lot of home runs this last few starts. So.
Yeah, I just don't know where the power is going to come for, Baltimore. I guess, for Baltimore here against because they haven't profiled the hit for power against righties. So that's just kind of where I'm looking at. Again, 3 of those last 4 starts are also on the road, where again he's done a lot worse on the road, and some decent offenses: St. Louis, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Toronto. So like we just brought up about Nola, though, Detroit, Baltimore, obviously different talents. Like, recent performances versus opponents sometimes matter as well. So just looking at small sample sizes, Baltimore could certainly come out and hit, but recently they've been struggling, and Peralta's better at home. So just kind of throwing his name out there as a mid-tier value option on a big slate that may go pretty underlooked on this one. Anybody else for you at pitching value-wise?
Nope. I don't think we need to really test the waters between Peralta and Musgrove and Schmidt when they're all like 7.5 or 7.7 to 7.9.
Yep, I agree with you. All right, let's go on to catcher then. Talk to me about your favorite catcher for the day.
Will Smith gets Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver is going to regress. I know he's kind of pitched well-ish, but there's a high implied total in this game, 10 runs. Luke Weaver 2.27 home runs per 9 innings this year. Not going to fare well at home. Great American is what it is. So Dodgers are one of the best hitting teams against right-handed pitching. This year, Luke Weaver against righties. 323 average, 356 OBP, 604 slug, 408 WOBA allowed. You know where this is going when we get to the outfield, too. There's a couple guys in the Dodgers outfield that are as hot as any human on the planet. Yes. One in particular. So Will Smith is my top catcher of the day. I like Jonah Heim and Mitch Garver. They both get a lefty depending on who's starting. Maybe we see them both start, just kind of like we did on Monday. And then Blake Sable, even though he's 4,200, it's not the best price. He has a lot of power, hits in 5 of his last 6 games, and in 2 of those games he's homered.
This is more so about the matchup that he has than necessarily him as well. So we were laughing at Dinelson Lamet there starting last time, and he did not disappoint.
No, he did
being horrid. So you can go Sabal here. And also could be Bailey, right? Bailey they played them both last time. So especially with all the injuries they got going on, could see them both in the lineup there as well. Let's see here. Oh, Omar Narvaez is back. Hey, good for my boy. It could be a spot there. Reinstated from the 60-day DL.
Yeah.
I do like Bryce Elder though. But we have Yan Gomes here at $3,100 against the lefty. So we played him tonight. Played him tonight. He had a single in his first at bat. We'll see what happens. And then Al Gary homered tonight. I don't know if you like him against Logan Gilbert or not, but 2 value catches down here for us.
I mean, Al Gary might just homer every slate at this point. Might as well just keep mentioning him because he's going to keep homering.
Could.
You're saying he might just keep hitting home runs.
He certainly could. Any other catches?
No.
Okay. First base, sir.
Top of the position is really interesting. You have Ohtani, who's in an elite spot. We have Freddie Freeman, who I think is going to probably be the chalk up here against Luke Weaver, even though Weaver's been worse against righties.
It's just them being in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
coming off.
No, I know. And Freeman's been as good as ever. 331 this year. Just
Yeah,
every year.
Freeman was my number one play.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people get sucked into the Matt Olson play or not. We talked about it last time when Carrasco faced Philadelphia, and I was like,
Sure.
lefties are not touching Carlos Carrasco this year. And he threw a gem in that game. People might see Carrasco, see his numbers, and be like, oh, like we could probably go at him here. You probably can with the righties, but I'm not touching Olson on this slate specifically.
I'm not either. Especially when you could play Freeman or Ohtani, and then you can go down. And I find Anthony Rizzo at 4K to be a little interesting
at home too, like
because this feels like something that was like an intern misclicking on like the 4 instead of a 5. I know Rizzo hasn't been great, but you mentioned the home splits. If you want to just pull up the splits on the screen, John. 8 home runs of his 11 at home, 1,000 OPS. He's hitting 360 at the stadium. This is something that you and I talked about last year. Like this is dating back last year that he was raking. So like I don't get the 4K price tag. He's just
Giolito, by the way, also 6 of his 11 homers allowed this year to lefties, a 500 slug. So definitely a spot here for Giolito, who's struggling against lefties this year. For Anthony Rizzo at 4K, a guy that you looked at a price tag 48, 5K, 49, 51, 5K, 49, 51, 49. All of a sudden he gets dumped to 4K at home. So no, I'm full on with you here. It's such a great price tag to get him in some lineups for sure.
And then Lamonte Wade at the same price in course. Don't need much.
And more people will play Lamonte Wade than Rizzo.
100%.
Yep. I was 100,000% agree with you there. Value tier. I didn't really see a ton. I think we could, because San Francisco is going to have Manaea, so like Nolan Jones and Moustakas are going to eventually get a lefty. So it makes it a little bit difficult to go in that direction here.
Wilmer 33.
Yeah, Wilmer's first base only again. That kind of sucks, but he's there.
Mancini had a home run against a lefty on Sunday. If we wanted to go there, he did not do that on Monday. But if you wanted to go there, but I don't think there's
nothing else down here. No, I agree with you. Second base. If I'm looking up at the top, my top second baseman here, Mookie Betts. He's outfield second base eligible, but again, we just liked the matchup. For the Dodgers here, they'll most likely be. Do you think they're the highest rostered stack?
Yes.
Do you think people just go to San Francisco again?
That's actually a good point. I guess it depends on what kind of San Francisco lineup we get. Like if Conforto, Yastrzemski don't play, then it's probably Dodgers. If Conforto, Yastrzemski play, that like
if they don't play, they'll be cheap enough to play them both, I guess, right? So
yeah, true.
Could certainly fit that in. So Mookie for me is, I mean, again, I'm not saying anything you guys don't know. He's pretty elite anyways. Second base, outfield eligible. He had a 2-homer game the other day, back to back 2-homer games, just kind of show you what he can be. Simeon's hitting 300 against lefties. All of a sudden, he's just hitting everybody at 57. I know we kind of like Liberatore, but Texas has been a pretty tough offense to crack this year anyway. So those are the top 2 price guys, and they're my 2 favorite guys anyways.
I'll throw Ketel Marte in there, 5K. He's been surprisingly good, and like we've been getting a lot of power out of him lately. You and I clowned on like that random 30 home run season that he gave us, and now 3 home runs his last 10 games. He's hit 6 against right-handed pitching this year when he's been typically better from the left side. So 332 WOBA against righties. Jake Irvin been a gas can, so I like Ketel Marte here at 5K.
Okay. Casey Schmidt, second base shortstop now. Like that, $3,800. That definitely gives us some nice value at the second base position. So I'm looking to key in on him for my lineups today.
Yeah, and this position sucks. And
exactly.
Even though like Schmidt has struggled a bit lately, but I'd be willing to get there.
That's so bad. I'll be anybody. It doesn't really matter. Anybody in that lineup, I believe, can break out against Gerald and Lamet here. So.
Blake Wisely. To your point, if he's in the lineup, he's a second base outfielder, a little pop in his bat. I'd be willing to go there. Jaquan Bay, if he cracks lineup, he stole another base on Monday.
Lefty righty spot. So.
Yep. And Caprillian's been worse against lefties. And then Luis Rengifo has been a little better of late for LA. And Chicago starting Wisniewski. Rengifo hits in 3 straight, including a home run his last time out. 2,300. I kind of like the Angels stack against Wisniewski here.
Just total throwaway play, but if Chavis is in the lineup against Henry,
okay,
just there's some power profile there. At
good history against left-handed.
Yeah, in the past. Third base here. I know you like Devers. I know lefties against Bieber. He's just been so bad.
And the position's elite at the top.
Yeah. So I'm struggling to get there. I just go to Jung here again. And even Riley, just the way the righties are hitting Carrasco and then Jung gets a lefty. Those are my two for this one.
I do like Devers. I'm also interested in getting to McMahon. I know he's going to get Manaea here, but dude, this guy has been a menace to society. 5 home runs over his last 10 games, 425 average, 1,400 OPS essentially over his last 10 from Ryan McMahon. I can get there. Max Muncy is going to be, he's due for a double home run game. He hasn't hit one in a little while. Josh Jung, Austin Riley, Machado has 2 hits tonight. This is a super elite top tier position. I think you can really get to anyone, even if you want to play Jose Ramirez against Paxton. It's not like Paxton's been completely lights out, right? So
I'm not playing Jose Ramirez.
I'm not either. I'm just saying, I'm just saying that there's merit to every play. Bregman continued; he had another hit, continued his streak. There's literally a merit for every third baseman up top.
Yeah, that's fine. I've scrolled down. I don't really see a lot of value that I love here. I mean,
Josh Donaldson on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
He's at home, though. I was going to say. So,
that would.
There's not a lot. I mean, Rojas is at least 4K. Candelario this year has been hitting righties better than lefties, but historically it hit lefties better at 39. But there's really not a lot of value to be had on this slate. I didn't even realize that Gunnar Henderson was day to day. If he's out, it makes that Baltimore lineup even maybe easier for Peralta.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Was there an obvious value third baseman for you that you were okay plugging in?
I wouldn't say obvious. You could play Rengifo at third as well. The replacement for Gunnar Henderson could be Josh Lester. He had one hit and 2 RBIs in his debut when they called him up. He was okay. He had a lot of power at AAA before the call up, so he could be an option lefty righty against Peralta.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if he's in the lineup and you're just looking to punt, the guy looks like another just monster human being.
He looks like Todd Frazier a little bit.
Yeah, he does look a little Todd Frazier there. 6'3", 225, so not as big as the.
That's still a big boy. That's like
a big guy.
That's like A-Rod.
Not 6'4", 280 like the Cardinals guy there. So.
Yeah, that guy's a brick house.
Yeah, he's a monster. All right, let's go on over to shortstop then. When we're looking at our favorite shortstop plays of the day, does anybody stand out to you as an obvious plug-in? I mean, we've been playing Seager. He hits lefties. He's got one, but he's 56. Swanson's 52. Bichette against Browns 51. Any of those scream play me?
Yeah, I like Swanson. Coming around against lefties, average up to 300 against lefties, 409 WOBA, and Tyler Anderson's been terrible against righties all season long. 306 average allowed, 910 OPS, 383 WOBA. I think there's going to be a lot of Cubs outfielders we get to here, considering the lefties are, I think there's a lot of Cubs interest, in my opinion. Even Nico Horner, we didn't mention, 321 average against lefties. There's a lot to like for the Cubs here.
Yeah, he's just been expensive, Horner. That's really
he has. And so is Dansby, 52. But Anderson's been that bad.
If we're moving on down again, I know you can play Schmidt here. Perdomo, I think at 39 could be an option. But again, another position that feels like it's pretty top heavy just because of the matchups of our usual plays have on the slate.
Yeah, Perdomo's fine. He hits better from the left side. Volpe, if you're stacking Yankees, he homered his last at bat. Ezekiel Duran, $3,000 would probably be the best spot. Sure. He doubled an RBI on Monday. So that's probably the spot. I got something for us, John.
Okay.
Ildemaro Vargas continues to literally rake for the Washington Nationals. $2,800. He's outfield shortstop eligible. 387, 6 extra base hits over his last 10 games, an 1100 OPS, homered in his last game. He's probably going to start due to the split advantage here. I'd like to know what his exact
I got it right here. So he's up against a lefty.
Yeah, he's up against a lefty.
636 slug, 955 OPS against lefties.
Okay. Well,
seems like a plug to me. I like that call.
Tommy Henry, weirdly has been terrible against lefties for what that's worth.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure.
All right, let's go out of outfield then. We got a lot of top end talent. You mentioned that there's a couple of Dodgers that we're going to be looking in on here.
Yeah.
JD Martinez is 5K.
He is the one. He is the chosen one.
325, 1124, 775 over the last 10.
I mean, dude, just look at like all the way dating back to like when he came off the IL.
Yeah.
May 12th. Like he has been a freaking menace to society.
Yeah.
Like peak JD Martinez. Like this is like
can't even argue with you. I like him and Carroll. Those are my two guys.
Yep, Carroll, him and Carroll.
Acuna,
if you get all the way up, you mentioned the Carrasco struggles against righties.
Yep, I agree with you. If we're moving on into the mid-tier range here, Stanton came back, $4,800, has some power as we know.
Yep.
I can certainly find a spot for him there. Lane Thomas, if the struggles against lefties are there, right? I mean, Lane Thomas has always hit lefties well, and he's home. That's been a big popular split for us. Grichuk will eventually get Manaea at $4,400, Lourdes at 43. So some good mid-tier options here.
Yeah, and I'll throw Seiya into that mix too. And he's raked against lefties all year, hitting 390 against lefties. So all four of those guys right there in the mid-tier, perfectly fine.
Sounds good for me. Are they going Moniak at leadoff still? $3,600? Now pulling him down.
Yeah, he hasn't played in he missed 3 days in a row.
Haniger's at 37.
Yep.
Outman, I know you mentioned more outfield.
He's been a corp. Well, Mookie Betts was there for me. It was Betts and he's been
Outman's been doing nothing. 074 the last.
He's been a dead body.
Good ballpark. Good ballpark.
Pavin Smith, Slater could start.
Sure.
Ozuna, McCarthy.
Leotes again.
McCarthy
for short, 33.
Anything under?
Not really.
Grossman could start. Jolks.
We'll get some lineups out, and we'll have a better view on some of these guys here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. Let's build our lineup. If we like pitching up at the top, what was our go-to?
Keller here. Yeah, Keller, and then Schmidt, Musgrove, Peralta. I'm down with any of those.
I like Musgrove there. That plays. Catcher position. We just going Yanni.
Yep, sure are.
All right, first base. Freeman. Where's our value? Vargas, obviously.
Yep.
Vargas at shortstop, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, and then second base here. Schmidt, 38.
Yeah, Schmidt, 38.
Third base.
Third base is a good spend up spot.
Yeah,
probably Josh Jung.
Yeah, Jung, I agree. 3 outfielders at 3,800. Let's fit in JD.
I did. Yeah.
And then we'll find some value here. 3,200 a piece here. So Wisely's 29. Probably in the lineup.
Down. Definitely in the lineup.
Yep.
You know who's been good? Jason Hayward's been really good for the Dodgers if he plays. He's 2,600.
26?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with Hayward. That's fine. Hayward's in there. And then I'll get up rid of Wisely. That'll give us 3,800 for an outfielder.
Haniger.
Love it. Boom. Mitch Haniger. So we got Keller, Musgrove, Gomes, Freeman, Schmidt, Jung, Vargas, JD, Haniger, and Hayward. James and I will be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll break down the slate, give you all the updates you guys need to know. Get in that Discord. Sign up, facelam.com/allpro. Promo code MLB50 saves you 50% off the